machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow us on all socials.
Hello, good evening. Welcome back to Leicester Fan TV. This is the Fox's Focus show where we'll be discussing the Everton game the weekend. So, Simon, last week we were discussing how badly the club has been run, especially after that awful last few defeats. But we did say as a joke that it could turn around within a week, couldn't it? And the day after we did that show, Top announced that he's cleared all of our debts, and we beat Spurs. Funny old game, isn't it?
Yeah. What a difference a win makes, Jonno. You get, it was probably one of the best, if not the best, performances of the season on the weekend. All right, against a Spurs side that are having a bit of a rough time of it at the minute, but you wouldn't have expected us to have come up with a victory on the back of the 7 defeats we've had. So, and it just feels like a bit of a cloud's been lifted from the club since that victory at the weekend, and there's a bit of hope around the fan base again, which was clearly, completely missing at the last home game.
It was missing, and you got to bear in mind Simon's camera is in South Africa, so he sounds good, but his camera might not be up to scratch. But you have to bear with us with that. But I think Ruud sat down with the team during the week and they had a meal or something. I heard the rumor, and he basically just said, "Look, let's get things out in the open air. Let's say what's been really crap about the club, about the team, what needs improving." And I think that kind of brought them together. And you saw that really on the pitch. I think people saying, "Oh, the team won't play for Ruud and Ruud's dead." I don't think that's true. I think Ruud's a good manager. I think he's been really good. I just think the recruitment's been poor. I think the recruitment. I still stand my opinion of the club has been ran badly on a football aspect. As a business aspect, we can clearly see in our top. He's cleared all the debts. He's put almost half a billion pounds of his own money into the club. It's just the footballing aspect needs improving. So, but there's been rumours that Ruud says he's going to be getting players in by the end of the window. We don't know when, we don't know how, but he's going to be doing it. So, from the most miserable club to a bit more hope within a week is crazy. Don't forget to send in your comments, and please like and share the video. What's this one say? If we can find a way to win at Saturday and get Mads and Wolf back, maybe we can push on. How big of a miss has Mads and Wolf been to the team, Simon, since they've been injured?
I think the results that we've had over the last 7 games prior to the weekend, I think probably lends some reality to the fact that we've really suffered without Mads Hermansen in goal and Wilf Ndidi's experience in the middle of the park. It's fantastic news. It's almost like a new signing in a way that Ruud's now saying that those players are coming back into contention. Well, certainly Hermansen for this weekend, from what I understand. So you would hope that will lift the squad, but they've been a massive miss. And whilst any club shouldn't be relying on their keeper to keep them in games, there were a fair few games prior to his injury where Hermansen kept the score honest for us and kept us in games. So I think it's really important that we get that back into the team as soon as we can.
I mean, he was one of the most informed goalkeepers in the league of chances saved. And I know we as a team take a lot of shots. We we're one of the most. We had, I think the first game of Ruud, we had 31 shots against us. So of course you can have more saves with that many shots against you. But it's not just the fact that taking more shots, but it's the quality of the saves he was making was saving our bacon. Really, he was unreal. And I think Wolf is a miss, but to be honest, I think it's brought out Soumare. I think Soumare, ever since he's come into the fold, has been absolutely immense. I think Reed was kind of the light, really good player, team performance against Spurs. But Soumare made that tackle to win the ball back that led to the goal. So I think Soumare has been excellent. I think if indeed he comes back, would you have Wolf and Soumare in the same team, or do you think it's too defensive?
I think it's difficult to play them both in the same team because you would imagine Harry Winks is going to fill one of them central midfield berths unless he's the one who makes way. But given a blend of kind of players, I know we did play with Ndidi and Soumare earlier on in the season, but I wouldn't imagine that's the way Van Nistelrooy would be looking to go. I would suggest it's more likely that it's one or the other. And yeah, I mean, Soumare's done nothing to deserve losing his place. I think this is the first season that in all the time he's been at the club where he's really stepped up and earned his wages really. So yeah, I mean that's a nice problem to have for Van Nistelrooy, that he's got some decent quality blend of centre midfielders to pick from, and it should competition for places. Jonno, is always a good thing. It gives the others a little bit of a wake up call that their selection is not guaranteed.
I think once a player has competition in their once a player has competition, they play better. Like look at our backup goalkeeper. I've seen comments on Facebook saying why drop Jakob? Why drop him? He's been really, really good since Mads has been injured. I think the first few games, his first game was a bit poor, but after that he's been excellent. I think some of his saves against Spurs was Hermansen-esque. So with our new signing, Koulibaly, I think JJ is going to have to really improve for him not to be in the team. To keep Koulibaly out. So getting these players in and players coming back from injury are really going to challenge their position back and again improve the team. You need competition, so that's really, really good. One thing Ruud has done, he's got the shots again. Yeah, I mean this first game wasn't true. I think we got 30 odd shots against us in the first game, but it has gone down. I think I didn't manage to watch the full Spurs game, so from your aspect, did we concede a lot of shots compared to like before Ruud? Or
I think for me on Sunday, one of the marked differences was that it was a 90-minute performance, Jonno. It wasn't just a performance for part of the game. They put a performance on the pitch for the whole 90 minutes, which we've only seen a couple of other times this season. And like you say, we've given a lot of teams a lot of opportunities. Yes, Spurs did get chances, and yes, Pedro Porro amongst others were wasteful with those chances. But that performance, in my opinion, on Sunday warranted the win. We came back and we got back in the game and we turned it around. And there was a commitment and a passion from our side that there's been missing certainly over the last 4 or 5 games.
Exactly, and I think the passion. Thing is, though, I thought this was going to be the case when we kind of beat Brighton and we beat West Ham, and I think that was one we could have we could have had a run. And when we first got that first PSR ruling against us wiped out, that was another time. So we're a club of 9 lives at the moment. We've been for about 4 or 5 lives, and we're still running them down. So let's take this opportunity to now actually have a little bit of a run. I'm not saying win every game, just don't win 7 in a row. Win 1, maybe lose 1 or 2, then win another one, draw 1. You know what I mean? Not a losing streak like 7 in a row. And I think Vardy said it in his interview that he actually really believes in Ruud. He really believes this is now, he knows the rubbish that we're in, and he knows we've been poor, and hopefully he can encourage us now to move on, he said, and give us some hope. Winks goes out of the team for me. I don't think Winks is for a relegation fight. He's not physically enough to he gets overrun. I thought Winks had a good game against Spurs. I said only watch the highlights, but it looks like he had a decent game. Would you drop Winks?
No, I wouldn't. No, I mean, he's not been the player he was last season in the Championship this season, but he's gone up a significant level of standard in the league we're playing. But no, for me, it's Harry Winks and another. And at the minute, Samari's got that berth, and Didi comes in and then creates competition in that mix, and I think that's healthy. But no, I wouldn't drop him. And whilst he hasn't been the kind of outstanding, kind of shining light of that midfield this season, he still has been an important part of what we've done so far this season. And let's not forget that despite those 7 defeats on the bounce, that win on the Sunday got us out of the bottom 3. And that alludes to the fact that there's, it's not just us. There's a lot of teams. Well, there's 4 or 5 teams at the bottom this season that just aren't picking up a lot of points. So it does. We've still got everything, absolutely everything to play for. And the likes of Harry Winks is going to have to bring his A game for the rest of the season to make sure we keep ourselves out of that bottom 3.
Exactly. And before we do, people putting about the Everton game now. Before we move on to the Everton game, I mentioned earlier that Ruud wants to bring in a few players before the end of the transfer window. With a few players coming back from injury, what players do you think we need to really have a push to survival? I said we needed a centre back and a striker. I think our centre backs are too slow. I think with the signing of Koulibaly at the right back, I think that's a good addition. I think we need the fastest centre back, and I think we need a new striker. Who, if you could bring in 1 or 2 players, who would you bring in? Not the name, but the position.
No, yeah, I think I absolutely agree with you. We need a striker. There's talk about Daka going to America. I don't know if that's likely or not, because I've not been keeping 100% up to date with that story. But the last I heard, there was some talk. We moved Tom Cannon out in this window. There's been far too much, whilst he's an absolutely incredible club legend. There's been far too much reliance on Jamie Vardy this season, in my opinion. There's nothing there really to come on to give him on the hour, to give him a bit of a chance to get his breath back and make an impact. So that's a no-brainer for me. We have to sign a striker. The centre back thing, I'm a little bit on the fence with, because Coley for me was he got dropped out of the team fairly early on in the season, but he is a more of a pacey, mobile centre back, and I didn't really think he got enough of a run in the first team to really kind of figure out whether he was of the standard or not. And there's talk about him going in this window as well. But if he's going, for me, we need a centre half, and like you say, we need a centre half with some more pace, because that's the one thing we lack at the back. But apart from that, I mean, left side of midfield's a bit, but if Cordova-Reid's going to step up now and fill that berth, then maybe we've got a solution there. But for sure, I agree with you. Striker and maybe centre back, depending on what happens.
Yeah, I do agree. And this guy Scott put. Apparently, we are only able to bring in loan players. I mean, even loan players, I wouldn't mind loan players, because we're not worried about what's going to happen in the future. We need the here and now. We're not planning. We're not doing this. We're not like a stable club. We're a club that's fighting for our lives, and we need that instant impact. So I don't mind those loans, and then next season rebuild if we survive.
No, I mean the rest of this season's about retaining our Premier League status. If that means we have to get a few short-term loans in to bolster the squad out to make sure that's the end result, then who's going to complain? As long as we finish fourth from bottom or better, then everyone's going into the summer with a smile on their face, and that's what matters. And it's by all means necessary for me, certainly. Do what you need to do.
Exactly. Now we're going to Liverpool against the hopefully easier Liverpool side, which is Everton. They've won their last 2 games against Spurs and Brighton, who we would all think are really tough opponents. Then you lost 1-0 to Villa before that, 1-0 to Bournemouth. Bournemouth put 5 past Forest, so those aren't teams, aren't pushover teams. Yes, they lost, but only by 1 goal. So it's not a team you want to just think, then in a relegation fight like us is going to be even. I think it was going to be a very, very, very tough team to play against. Players, they've got a really, really strong lineup. They've got Pickford in goal, I think has been really, really good. Tarkowski, who's I feel is one of those defenders who rough houses, who likes to stir up the pot a little bit, gets people frustrated. So I think they've got a really, 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 really strong team. So what are your thoughts going into the game at the weekend, and what do you think we need to do to keep our winning form going from Spurs?
It's an interesting one, Nick, because there's kind of 4 of us at the bottom, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and then there's Everton.
Yeah.
Now, if we can beat them at the weekend, that kind of drags them back into that relegation mire. You know, they're back. You know, we're kind of within touching distance of them, and we can kind of drag them back into that scenario. If they beat us, then it kind of creates that the kind of 3 team out of 4 scenario becomes more and more likely. So I think for us, it's quite, you know, it's very, very important that we don't get defeated, and we make sure that they're still involved in that bottom 3 scrap.
Yeah.
And you know, and in terms of, you know, performance, well, more of the same from Sunday. You know, a 90-minute performance. You know, belief and determination from all of our players. You know, if we can deliver that at the weekend, then we've got every chance of getting a result. Albeit, obviously, they are a different prospect under David Moyes now than they were a few weeks ago. Before he joined the club, I think they've probably gone up a little bit of a level since. But you know, it is what it is. I think we have to worry about ourselves and get out there and try and deliver a similar performance to Sunday.
Exactly. I was going to go over the Everton team and discuss threats, but the players I was going to say who's going to be a threat have just been announced that Mangala and Calvert-Lewin are going to be out for the Leicester game. Now, those 2 players have been in shining form for Everton and going into it, and for us at the moment, it's still the same injuries. We don't have any more announced so far. So looking at those injuries, you've got to think those are 2 very strong players. I know Calvert-Lewin hasn't scored many goals this season, but he's played excellent against Spurs. So he was looking forward to getting his form back in the Premier League. So there's 2 big players missing, isn't it?
It is. Well, Calvert-Lewin's got a horrendous injury record. He can't seem to stay fit for more than a few games, and it was no surprise to me that he broke down at the weekend and he's injured again. But yeah, I mean, we need to worry about ourselves. I don't think Everton their squad is of a standard of anything we need to be particularly concerned about. I think if we go and deliver an honest, decent, positive account of ourselves at the weekend, we're more than good enough to get a result. And you know what, that would be quite a turnaround in our fortunes. You know, from just 10 days ago to go and get back-to-back away wins against clubs that aren't a million miles away from us in the league, and it starts to open things up. You know, and who knows, the way things are at the minute, if you can put a run of even 2 or 3 wins together back-to-back, because those teams down the bottom are really not picking up many points. 6 or 9 points in a short space of time is really going to throw you way up the league and get you way clear of that. So
exactly, and it gives us a cushion if we do have a bad run of form again. We have that cushion to not get dragged back into it instantly, because we had that when we beat West Ham and Brighton. We had that little bit of a cushion, and we rode our luck for a while. Then we got dragged straight back into it. We've not got a cushion. At one point, it's not a cushion, but we're out of it now. If this is one of the games in a long time we have to win. Like what I forgot what our running of games is. We've got Everton, then we've got Arsenal, Brentford, West Ham, then Chelsea. Now I can only see us winning 2 out of those 5 games, and one of them is at the weekend.
The Arsenal and Brentford games are at home, Jonno, aren't they? Back to back from memory.
Yeah, they are.
So the Arsenal game's going to be. Let's be honest. That's a difficult Arsenal home or away. Brentford at home. I don't know. I mean, So I think maybe some of us as fans got the wrong end of the stick of lately for me is that maybe there was a bit of a transition going on with Van Nistelrooy. You know, he came in during the season. He wanted to change some of the ways that the players were playing tactically on the pitch, and maybe those kind of 7 games where he had that kind of catastrophic run. Some of that was actually the performances were getting better, but it was to do with the players acclimatizing to what he wanted. And now, if the pennies dropped and they're starting to click in it, and he's changed a couple of the personnel as well at the weekend, which seems to have worked, then maybe we're starting to find a formula that's going to allow us to compete with some of these teams. Who knows?
Who knows? And everyone was, I think, well, Phil alluded that he was the one who was moaning that the lineup we had against Spurs was poor. Now, if I look at the lineup, we had Vardy, Ayew, Elkanous, and Reed as a front four. Now, on the bench, we've got Patson Daka, Bordonotte, and Mavididi, Casey McAteer. Those 4 players. Like, I know Patson Daka isn't, the shining star, and he's not as clinical as we would like, but he's pacey. Mavididi is not scared at all of challenging players. McAteer isn't either. We've got players on the bench to come on and challenge players. Like, I think we've got the ability to really go at them in the end of towards the end of the second half. And I agree, we've got the players now. If the pennies drop with this formation and the tactics, and these players work in that formation, then I can't see why we shouldn't have a run. But again, we rely. I think someone, I forgot his name, mentioned it at the weekend. Those 3 players, Reed, Ayew, and Vardy, an age of 103. Can they do that all season?
Maybe not, Jonno. But like I said to you earlier on in this, it's by any means necessary. If that's the formula right now, that's starting to see us turn the tide and start to get some performances on the pitch, then go with it. It's a squad game, isn't it? There's times when something's right, and there's other times when you change it. And for me, with Mavididi, A for effort for me. You watch him play every week. He's trying. Don't get me wrong, but there's a little bit of pensiveness in his game that seems to have grown in for me this season, where he gets to the fullback, and rather than having the belief in himself to take that fullback on, he'll play the safe ball backwards or sideways. And if De Cordova-Reid's gonna fill that berth and provide the quality into the box to give us goal scoring chances for the time being, then go with it. And it might be in a few weeks' time that gets changed around again. But they're not players that are going to. They're not well-beaten players. They're not players that are going to make your jaw hit the floor. But if they get the job done right now, that's exactly what we need. And it doesn't really matter, how the performance is. We need them 3 points.
Exactly, as Jordan just said, that you need to win ugly sometimes. We've just got to do what it takes to win. Now, let's discuss the starting lineups. Now, we've got Jordan put a post saying, if Wolf and Mads were fit, would they come in straight away, or would you keep the same team as we had against Spurs?
If you're asking my opinion, then Mads Hermansen comes straight back into the team. I know Stolarczyk has had a couple of cracking games, and he's deputised to his credit. Hermansen was a massive part of our early part of our season, and his distribution with the ball is a better standard as well, which is important in these modern football systems. So, for me, he comes in. Wilf and Ndidi for me goes into a mix where he has to fight for his place with Samare and Winks, and he has to prove that in training that he's worth that spot back for me. And what do you think? What's your thoughts on that, Jonno?
I agree with Mads. I think Mads Hermansen should have come straight back. Only if he's properly fit. I don't want him to come back in him of half an injury or 90% fit. If he comes back in, he needs to be 100%. But if he is 100%, absolutely bring him back in. But Samari and Rinks is working. I don't see why we should. If that formula is working, why bring in Ndidi and mess up the tactics a little bit just for the sake of bringing him back? If Samari and Winks is working, I'll keep that. And again, as I agree, him to fight his place back. So my dream starting lineup for the game against Everton would be Mads in goal, Christensen. I'm going to say Koulibaly right back. They're my wing backs, Christensen and Koulibaly. I want to give Justin a rest. I think it'll be good. I think I'd like to see Koulibaly, Vestergaard, and Fast at the back. If we haven't made another signing, a starting signing. Samari and Winks as my DMs. And I'll stick with the same front four. Reed on the left, Ayew on the right, El Khanous as a cam, and Vardy at striker. I think there's one player in this team that cannot be dropped, and that's El Khanous. I can't drop El Khanous. That's the only player I can't drop. But that would be my starting lineup for Everton.
Yeah, I mean, the only one for me that I would debate is the right back with you, because I don't think we've seen enough of this new signing to really understand what he's going to bring. Is he a kind of a squad player for now that's just as a backup in case Justin gets injured, or is he someone that the club bought with the intention of him actually starting? We haven't seen enough of him yet, and I certainly don't know enough of him from his past football career to really make a judgment on that until we see a bit. But apart from that, I agree with you. I think it pretty much picks itself at the minute. You stick with what you've got because that's what's delivering the points.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like, the reason why I've said Justin out was because I think he's had a really torrid season. I think not just the fault of his own. I think, again, changing managers throughout the season and, has not helped to different tactics, but he's not been solid at the back for most of the season. So maybe we play Koulibaly in the cup against Manchester United and see how he plays in that, because no Leicester fans are going to assume we're going to beat Manchester United at Old Trafford. So maybe that could be a game we play Justin for this game. But I would like to see Koulibaly playing, because if Justin becomes unfit, he needs time. So I don't know when he'll get game time.
I think that's a shout. I think playing the new lad in the cup is a safer bet. Give him a chance to kind of acclimatise to English football, and it's a lower risk game. We can't afford to kind of roll the dice on the weekend. We need, but I also agree with you that James Justin has had a bit of a torrid time this season. Not for the want of trying. I'm sure he's giving everything he can, but he has struggled. And also don't forget, Jonno, that apparently Ricardo's not far from being fit now as well. So you would kind of hope that he'll come into that mix and raise the level of the team, because I do believe Ricardo is a better right back than the other two.
I agree. Well, a really fit Ricardo, I think, is better, but we'll have to wait and see. By the time we do our show next week, will you be back in the UK by then?
Back, mate. Yeah, back to normal.
Back to normal. By the time we could do our show next week, I want you to put a name to a transfer. If all the players we've been linked with, who would you like to see in a Leicester shirt? Not unrealistic. Don't say Mbappe, because obviously that's not. Don't be stupid. But that's including the chat as well. But what players we've been linked with do you feel that would be like, yeah, that's a good addition?
I suppose when you look at our squad this season, whilst I don't believe anyone's not trying, I think there's some players there that aren't really trying interested in the Premier League, and they haven't really had a lot of Premier League football in their past careers. And I think some of those have been probably having a few personal battles with their own footballing culture, their ability, whatever you want to call it, and trying to raise their game to that standard. And I think, the one thing that would help us at the minute would be to get some experienced Premier League players into our squad.
Yeah.
Along the lines of what you were saying to earlier, in terms of probably some loans, some players that have got that Premier League pedigree that can come in with that confidence and experience and this kind of settled things down a little bit. So the only one I know of that's got any real possibility was Oxlade-Chamberlain that apparently has been rumoured he's talking about coming back from Turkey, and we're in that mix. And I think someone like that, with that kind of level of 200 and something games in the Premier League, could probably help us a bit. I'm not so bothered about us signing obscure players from the depths of Europe, because I think that's for the future, and right now we need to worry about now.
Yeah, I agree. There's not many players that we've been linked with that's a striker, but I really like the idea of Lamptey as a right winger. I like Lamptey as attacking player. I think that's a really good addition if we get him on the right wing. But before we go, one last question. Score predictions. Now, I'm actually for your head and your heart. What does your heads and heart say? Who's going to?
My head and heart, for me personally, this week are more aligned than they have been in a while. I actually go, yeah, because I'm sure you're the same as me, that you've got this kind of wild dream as a fan that you're going to win, but your head's telling you something different. But this weekend, I absolutely believe we can go to Everton and get a win. I absolutely do believe that. If we deliver a similar performance to the one we did last weekend, then there's no reason why we can't win that game. So my head's going to say we're going to win. My head's going to say a draw, and that we'll get a draw 1-1. My heart's saying that we'll win, and we'll win by 2-1.
I think it'll be a 2-2 draw in my head. My heart's saying 2-1, and I'm going to say this now. I think Vardy's going to get a last-minute winner. I think El Khanous will score the first. It'll be dead cagey. Then Vardy will score in the final minute. I think that'll be the case. I think that we'll do that. But I think everyone's saying draw or close win. But as long as we don't lose, that's all that matters in my mind, really. Come with a point. But I really appreciate you coming on, Simon. Really, really appreciate it.
Problem,
Thank you all for.
Sorry if my video link was a bit up and down tonight.
It's been nice to have a companion. Please like and subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. All our socials at the bottom. We're not going to do a watch along, but we will have Jamie's show on Sunday, aftermath show about the Everton game, and full shows on Monday, and then we'll be back on Thursday. So thank you all very, very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow us on all socials.